Episode 3 opens with a flashback where a young Cleo is dreaming about ghosts and sheep. When she wakes up, she hears her father and mother having a tiff over the former's association with Shell Gordon, because of which he had to sell his trumpet to settle the debts. Seeing her father's financial condition, young Cleo decides to give away the money that she earned doing odd jobs to her father, and they share a sweet little musical moment as the father realizes how mature his daughter has become. In stark contrast to that, the adult version of Cleo is panicking and calling Reggie about the shooting, which has apparently only wounded Myrtle Summer. Instead of taking responsibility for putting Cleo in a tight spot, he makes it about winning Gordon's trust and showing him that they'll do whatever Gordon wants them to do, no matter how hairy things get. And things do begin to get hairy as Officer Platt and Officer Davis start a thorough investigation into the matter, while Reggie doesn't even tell Gordon that he sent Cleo to do the aforementioned drop, and that she was present at the scene of the crime because of him. To make matters worse, Lionel's health continues to worsen. So in a moment of sheer desperation, Cleo decides to get drunk and dance wildly at Gordon's pub. Slappy tries to learn what's up with Cleo, but all he gets to know is that Lionel's health is deteriorating. After rebuking Bauer in the previous episode, Maddie goes to him to work as a journalist for the Baltimore Star. But this time, Bauer tells her to go away. Maddie wanted to interview Zawadzki, but since she can't do it through Bauer, she decides to do it anyway. She writes a sympathetic letter to Zawadzki, and it does reach his cell. She also sends photographs of herself to Zawadzki, probably to titillate him, and that apparently works. While waiting for a response, Maddie continues her sexual relationship with Officer Platt, and her night of revelry causes her to show up late at an event at her son's school. Seth is understandably angry at her, but his fury truly erupts when Maddie forcibly takes him to her new place and keeps berating him for living with Milton and not her. In response, Maddie blurts out the reason why she wants Seth to stop idolizing Milton. He is not Seth's father. Seth reveals that since he went through her diaries before his bar mitzvah, this doesn't come as a shock to him. I guess Seth hints at the fact that maybe Alan Durst is the father. Maddie didn't write the name of the guy he slept with, and she doesn't utter his name in this episode of Lady in the Lake, so I guess it's going to be revealed later on. Will it matter? No, because Seth doesn't care who his father is. He sees Milton as his dad, and that's that. Maddie realizes that and drops Seth off at Milton's place and leaves awkwardly. We briefly see that despite Cleo's repeated warnings, Teddy is still working for Gordon's men. In some alley, Officers Davis and Platt get a hold of one of the assailants who tried to kill Myrtle. Since Platt knows Cleo, he decides to pay her a visit and urges her to tell him the truth of the operation that she was a part of. Cleo does give up the number of the car that the gangsters were driving, but she doesn't say a word about Gordon, even though Platt says that the police will protect her from him. When Cleo says that the police is in Gordon's pocket, Platt is shocked. I don't know if he is feigning ignorance or if he actually doesn't know that the biggest criminal in town is in cahoots with the law enforcers. Later that night, instead of having yet another quarrel with Teddy over his association with old Charlie, Cleo asks him to give her some inside information regarding the betting racket that he is a part of. I guess Cleo is trying to use a rigged system to earn some money so that she can get Lionel the medical help that he desperately needs. Armed with this knowledge, Cleo confronts Reggie and reprimands him for throwing her under the bus while enjoying Gordon's trust. Reggie realizes that he has been cornered and asks Cleo what she wants. Cleo says that she wants Reggie to give him the winning number in Gordon's race betting racket. If Reggie helps her win money, she's going to call it even and let Reggie live the lie that he wants to live. Reggie doesn't want to betray Gordon, and since Cleo senses that he might try to kill her, she puts the idea in Dora's head that if she goes missing one day, Dora should report Reggie to the authorities. Maddie pays another visit to Bauer to tell him that Zawadzki has written back. Bauer tries to send her away again, but when she says that she'll get the letter published in a rival publication, Bauer agrees to let her pursue the story. Bauer says that the byline will be his, and Maddie will be credited as a contributor. It seems like Maddie doesn't care if her name is not in the newspaper. She just wants the money. As soon as she gets the check, she delivers it to Judith, who is proud that she has started to earn enough to pay her rent. Later on, we see Maddie and Bauer going to Dr. Kornblatt to get some details about Tessie's death. Kornblatt says that, other than gravel, Tessie had skin cells underneath her nails, which indicated that she fought off her rapist. But Zawadzki didn't have any scratch marks on his body, so it's possible that he isn't the killer and/or the rapist. Maddie realizes that there's some important details around Tessie's murder that are being buried. So she rushes to meet Zawadzki as soon as she learns that he is interested in giving an interview to her. The alleged criminal beats around the bush a lot, talking about Christianity and Maddie's romantic escapades at the spot where Tessie's body was found. But when Maddie asks him about Tessie's death, he straight up says that he didn't kill her. That said, instead of revealing the identity of the actual perpetrator, Zawadzki starts talking about some kind of experiment that was conducted on him. It's unclear what these experiments were about, whether the trauma of those experiments caused Zawadzki to kill people, or if Tessie Durst was killed by the same people who experimented upon Zawadzki. But this does show that Zawadzki isn't an ordinary criminal, and that Tessie's death isn't as simple as it seems. Anyway, Maddie prints an article about the alleged link between Tessie's murder and some secret government experiment. This gets her a permanent job at the Baltimore Star's helpline desk, and she gladly accepts it. Later on, she gets freaky with Officer Platt. They celebrate Maddie's promotion and drink to the memory of Officer Davis, who got shot in the head while trying to arrest Duke. And while Maddie gets closer to Platt on an emotional level, she is reminded of how abusive Alan Durst used to be back when they were dating each other in high school. Cleo's business agreement with Reggie is going fine as they're exchanging details with the help of Gordon's coded red books. But it seems like Reggie wants Cleo to disappear with the money and the kids by Christmas morning because he knows that once Gordon finds out about all this, he is going to come for Cleo and her family's heads. In addition to that, Reggie also has to worry about Dora, who wants to go away and detoxify her system. Since Dora's absence will hamper Gordon's business, Reggie orders her to stay put and go cold turkey under his supervision. I don't think Reggie cares about what's going to happen to Dora. He just wants to keep an eye on her because she knows too much about Gordon's business, and he suspects that she is going to spill some beans if she is pressured by Gordon's competitors. Coming back to Cleo, she enters into an agreement with one of Teddy's clients, Mrs. Tatum, who is going to place the bets on Cleo's behalf so that Cleo isn't directly implicated for taking advantage of a rigged betting system. Elsewhere, Gordon learns about Reggie sending Cleo for the assassination attempt on Myrtle and punishes him by ordering him to kill one of Myrtle's would-be assassins before he is nabbed by the police, as well as Cleo. Reggie realizes that he has no option but to do Shell's bidding. Killing that third assassin is easy, but doing the same to Cleo is hard because she has a family to care for. Cleo goes to celebrate Christmas with her family, and we see Reggie waiting to kill her under the pretense of giving her the money she has earned from the betting racket. We don't see Reggie actually killing Cleo because he doesn't want to take the life of a desperate and innocent soul. But Reggie wants to live freely, and the only way to secure his place in the world is by eliminating Cleo. Reggie apparently does give Cleo the money that she asked for, and then he supposedly kills her. I say supposedly because we don't actually see the killing blow, and until a show gives us a scene where we see an act of murder, I can't say for sure if said act has actually happened. We see Reggie dumping Cleo's body, or at least the body of a person who is wearing Cleo's coat. I guess the identity of that dead body will be revealed in next episode. Elsewhere, Maddie goes for a Hanukkah celebration, where Alan loudly reprimands her for using Tessie's name to write an article full of conspiracy theories about government experiments and whatnot. Since Seth takes Alan's side, Maddie slaps him and then exits the party. When she returns home, she finds out that Stefan Zawadzki has broken out of jail and has broken into her rented apartment just to meet her. He goes on another one of his unhinged rants, and even though it seems like he is going to hurt Maddie, he doesn't do anything like that. Stefan says something about being connected to Maddie, refuses to elaborate, and then leaves. He goes to the spot where Tessie's body was found and surrenders himself to the police. By the way, before getting himself arrested, Zawadzki does kind of baptize himself. If he thinks he has been reborn or something like that, I guess he won't be burdened by the trauma of being experimented upon. How will that change him as a person? We'll have to wait to find that out.